Hey there, action fan, it's Avatar time. Today I'm looking at Legend of Korra Season 3. Let's kick things off by looking at the characters, starting with Avatar Korra, of course. This season, she seems to be trying to be more Avatar-like, I guess. She's less hot-headed and more about attempted conflict resolution, although she is willing to get into aggressive negotiations pretty quick, if you know what I'm saying. Her biggest moments of character development actually come right at the end, with Korra willing to sacrifice herself for the newly reformed Air Nation, and being severely weakened by the venom of the Red Lotus. I'm not super thrilled with this kind of development.
Well, Private, what would you prefer? To have all sacrifices instantly nullified by an ex machina?
You know, I thought I really wanted a sad ending, and then I actually got one.
Well, the grass is always greener, Private.
Now for Bolin. Last season he was sort of dumped on, but not this season. It's Bolin time up in this. He's more involved in the events of the story, and he's got more reason to be with his new GF, Opal.
Boy, did he ever trade up.
I know, they're such a cute couple. All their scenes together are great. And any drama in the relationship comes from them either not understanding or trying not to be themselves. Bolin also receives a serious upgrade powers-wise, going from being a garden variety earthbender to a lava bender.
So y'all metal benders can suck it.
Mako's just kinda treading water, but he's good for support with his awesome detective skills. Elementary, my dear Bolin. Then there's Asami, another big improvement over last season. We really get to see her wide range of skills, like airship repair and prison breaking, but we don't get to see her actual combat skills quite enough. I think she knocks out like 2 dudes. But Season 3 does spend time developing Korra and Asami's relationship, and it's awesome. Their scenes together are great. Whether it's just cruising around Republic City in one of those steampunk supercars, working together to escape confinement, or just trashing bozos. And then there's that great scene right at the end. You know the one I'm talking about. Korra and Asami are a seriously awesome team. Now let's look at the supporting cast. One of the big guns this season is Lin Beifong. She gets a whole lot of character development. We learn about her past with both her mother and her half-sister Sue. Those two have a troubled relationship, but it's nothing getting jammed full of needles and a healing rock fight can't fix.
Yeah, that's a family reunion, alright.
We're also treated to a couple of cameos by Varric. Nothing really happens with him, but it's awesome nonetheless. We also get some interesting character development with Tenzin and family. First off is Bumi. As an airbender.
Yes, because we wouldn't want a filthy non-bender squandering precious screen time, now would we?
Yeah, this is sort of an odd one. I feel like Bumi already had a thing going, so to just give him a new one, I feel like he didn't need it. We also get to spend some time with Kaya, and we see she's pretty cool, both mentally sharp and a skilled waterbender. Then there's Jinora. She's finally an airbending master. Good for her, I guess, but I've never really liked her. I find her kind of insufferable, conceited, and a know-it-all. I guess if anyone deserves to be an airbending master, it's her, but I feel like she hasn't quite earned it yet. Now we've got some new characters, starting with Kai. He's an Earth Kingdom street rat who made his way in the world by taking advantage of other people's trust and then making off with all their life savings. He strikes me as a low-rent version of Jet. Now the J-Man had a cool confidence, but Kai, well, he's a lot more cocky. I think this has to do with them overselling him when it was first introduced. So they would have needed to try a lot harder to make him sympathetic and show that he's at least trying to turn his life around. Now for Opal. There's not really a whole lot to her yet. She's mostly just there to be Bolin's dream girl. And after the nightmare last season, he deserves it. Then there's her mom, Sue. Lin's little sister is pretty cool. She's the matriarch of the Metal Clan, a whole city of metal benders. Sue comes off as very wise and kind, but she's still every bit Toph's daughter, and that side comes out of her every once in a while.
And it's awesome.
Now for the bad guys. First up is the Earth Queen, who's like a mashup of Cruella de Vil and that one gremlin from the new batch. She's just horribly unpleasant. And let's face it, she's only there so Zahir can bump her off in one of the gnarliest kills in Avatar history. Now for Ingwe. He was actually an interesting antagonist. He specialized in that earthbending lie detector stuff. He's a sharp guy and was one step ahead of Team Avatar most of the time, until Zahir started to think of him as a loose end, and decided to make sure that Mr. Clean wouldn't be telling anyone anything ever.
Zahir's buddies don't have too long of a life expectancy.
Now let's look at the Red Lotus big guns, and the one that packs the biggest boom is Pali. She's one of them nifty splosion benders. Like her predecessor, Combustion Man, she does some real damage. I'm not all that fond of her design though. Her hair actually looked better when she was in prison.
I'm sure the new look was a practicality-based decision.
That's what unfabulous people say. Then there's Minghua. She's the waterbender of the group. The fact that she can bend at all is impressive, and she does some wild stuff with the water under her control. But unlike her fellow Red Lotus members, it doesn't seem completely above your average waterbender. I mean, Katara made that weird octopus thing, so why can't your average bender do what Minghua does? Maybe it's a concentration thing, I don't know. Then there's Ghazan. He bends lava, which you'd think you would need a firebender for, but I'll let it go. Even if he wasn't slinging around molten rock, he would still pack a serious punch. He's one heck of an earthbender. Finally, the mastermind himself, Zahir. He falls short of Amon, but he's still a great villain. He's a man with an agenda, and he'll kill anyone who gets in his way. Personality-wise, his calm philosopher shtick hides a wild-eyed zealot with visions of anarchy dancing in his head. Throughout most of the season, he's a standard airbender, which is interesting. We haven't really seen what happens when an airbender goes bad before. Oh, and at the end, after he loses everything, he finally lets go of all earthly attachments and gains the ability to fly.
Yeah, no way that's how Goku does it.
If I have one complaint about the Red Lotus, it's that they're a little too developed. We see that they have relationships, senses of humor, and lots of other stuff that makes you feel like they're not going to be that bad, but then it turns out they totally are that bad, and I just don't know how to feel.
Would it help if I told you that Zahir spends his weekends kicking bunny puppies?
Actually, that would make me feel...
Yeah, well, no one cares how you feel, Private.
Dang, I need to feel better. Let's look at the comedy. Like always, Avatar is one funny show. Bolin is hardworking as ever, but now he's joined by his bro Mako, who's finally admitted that he's not too cool to have fun. But he's still the straight man most of the time because Mako's got to be Mako, you know what I'm saying? But the fun doesn't stop there. The Fire Ferrets have brought the whole family, from that one cousin who always shows up, all the way to Grandma, and they're all great. But that's not all in the comedy world. Varric's back in a series of cameos that prove he's still got it, and even the Red Lotus get in on the comedy antics. Oh, those wacky assassins with their crazy shenanigans. Now let's look at the art. We get to see some awesome locations, like the Northern Air Temple. It's got some jaw-dropping vistas. Another great spot is the Red Lotus Secret Cave of Evil. It's got a very mysterious look, with cool statues carved into the walls, and a big room with their logo plastered all over one wall. There's also the ever-impressive Republic City, but that's not the only metropolis. We also head back to Ba Sing Se, and the old girl still looks great.
Till Rockhead gets his mitts on it anyway.
True that. And who could forget Irontown or wherever Sue's from. Now let's look at the action. This season has some of the best Bender versus Bender fighting yet on Avatar. With 4 absolutely overpowered bad guys, and all 4 elements on display, how could it not be? You remember how sometimes in Avatar The Last Airbender, the rank-and-file firebenders would shoot one little fireball and then get swept aside by Aang? That never happens here.
Unless, of course, we're talking about the White Lotus.
Yeah, why do the White Lotus suck? I mean, they're totally outclassed by the Metal Clan guards, who should be on about the same level as the RCPD. Maybe the centuries-old secret society should start hiring a better class of dude. Finally, I want to talk about the ending. It sums up the season pretty well. This was one dark outing for Korra and the gang. Ba Sing Se falls to chaos, the Earth Queen dies horribly along with 3/4 of the Red Lotus, and Korra ends up in a wheelchair after getting liquid metal pumped into her veins. It's sad and dark, and I'm not sure I liked it. But if this is your bag, I think you'll really dig this season of Legend of Korra. Although if you're like me and you maybe wanted a happy ending after all that pain, you should still see Season 3 because it's totally awesome. I give Legend of Korra Season 3 a 4 out of 5. I mean, after all, it's only going to get better from here, right? Right?
Can I?
No, let him hope. It will be more amusing when tragedy crushes him.
If you're interested in more reviews of anime, movies, TV shows, comic books, or video games, check out my channel on YouTube at StupidPrivate913, or find my DeviantArt and Facebook pages for video updates and more. Thanks for watching.
Hey kids, today's show is brought to you by the letter 4 and the number potato! I'm a stupid private.